Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video on my YouTube channel. So, we're doing Combine Search and Destroy, but that's not what I want to talk about in this video today. The video I want to talk about today is if you guys watched the MLG event at the MLG Stage 1 Playoffs in Columbus, Ohio. If you guys were there, shout out to you. That's pretty cool. I wasn't there, but I was watching it on MLG TV. And all I can say is, wow, all the 1 seeds on day 1, so E United, Evil Geniuses, Optic Gaming, and Team Envious, they all got beat by the 2 seeds. So Optic Gaming got beat 3-1 by FaZe Clan. EG got beat by Splice on day 1. Luminosity beat Team Envious, and E United got beat by Enigma 6, I think. Enigma 6 beat E United. So, that is what happened on day 1. And everyone was surprised because they said Optic Gaming was the best team in the world. And you look at it, and straight up, Optic Gaming got destroyed. Now, that's not to say the guys are bad. Karma, Crimsic, Formal, Scump, they're all 4 the best in the game. In fact, my favorite player of all time in Call of Duty is Karma. He's such an animal, and he's really, really good. I'm not even gonna lie. He's a pain in FaZe's side half the time. So yeah, that's the day 1, and literally like everyone called Optic Gaming. Everybody. I think Patrick Price or Aches, he called a FaZe 3-2 in 5. They 3-1'd Optic. Now, a lot of people said that would never happen. Optic's always going to win. They're the #1 team in the world. And then they go out and get 3-1. Team Envious, I think, get 3-1 or 3-0'd by maybe Game 5. I think it was either a 3-1 or a 3-0 by Luminosity. I'm going to look. I think it was a 3-0, but that's my opinion. And if you guys don't know, Luminosity had trouble recent times with basically had trouble in recent times with SND. They could not clutch up on their SNDs. Like, they'd win the hard point and they'd win the uplink and go up, like, they win the hard point, go up 1-0. They would lose the SND, win the uplink, go up 2-1, then win that hard point, and then that'd be it. But there was a time they went to Game 5 with Optic, and they lose the final SND. And then the whole day, they had played really well in SND, except Day 3 Grand Final, which I will talk about that pretty soon. So, they had played very well in all their SNDs, and that was like the first time you had ever not expected them to do good in an SND, because you'd usually expect them, if they're going to do bad in SND, they're going to keep doing it. Well, they cleaned up their SND game, and this was one of the few times that I think they could really they took a run to everybody, the top 8 teams there. So then they move on. LG goes into day 2. They 3-0 E United, the #2 team in the world. And don't remember, Luminosity is #4 in the world. They 3-0 E United. Now, that was crazy when they 3-0'd E United, because nobody expected them to do that. Everyone thought E United was going to clean it up, maybe go 3-2, maybe 3-1 in E United's favor. Instead, Luminosity came out 3-0 E United, so I'm like, what is this? They win the SND. They're down 5-1 and come back. No. They're down 5-4 and win the next 2 to 3-0. It was insane. And then the uplink, they absolutely destroyed it. And then, also after that, Luminosity then played FaZe Clan, and FaZe Clan 3-1'd Luminosity. Now, FaZe Clan at that point looked unstoppable. They had beaten Optic, and FaZe is the #3 team in the world. So, they 3-1 Luminosity, and they 3-1 Optic Gaming. Now, that was an insane series, the Luminosity FaZe, because, in my opinion, I'm a big FaZe fan. I thought going into that Octane, the AR for Luminosity, he's probably my second favorite player, Karma being first and Octane being second. Octane put up ridiculous stats. It was crazy. He put up ridiculous stats, and in doing so, he made it seem like Luminosity was going to win the whole thing, which they almost did. I don't want to give it away who beat them. They went to the grand final and lost, but I'm not. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch the grand final. Later in the video, I'll say who beat them in the grand final, and you might be surprised if you didn't expect this. So, Luminosity get 3-1 by FaZe. Now, this was completely expected because in the past event, so MLG Dallas, ESWC, MLG Atlanta, FaZe had beaten every team that was not Optic Gaming or E United, and they still did it to that day. And that's what was the crazy part, was they beat all those teams even when they were Optic Gaming and E United, and that's what was kind of the crazy part of this whole thing. And getting into day number 3, so in day number 3, what happened was they got to the top 4 teams. So Luminosity, Splyce, FaZe, top 3, sorry. Luminosity, FaZe, and Splyce. So FaZe and Splyce played the winner's bracket final, and Splyce and FaZe went to 5th map. So tied 2-2, 5th map SND. And 0 for Splyce, who is also an AR. He'd been playing insane. He put up like insane stats just like Octane. And the EU0, oh my gosh, guys, it was ridiculous how good he played. I couldn't even imagine it playing that good. And yeah, so they 3-2 FaZe on map 5. Now that's what was crazy, is they 3-2'd them on map 5. And everyone thought, oh, FaZe are just going to clean up again, go all the way to the grand final, win the whole thing. Well, FaZe then, so Splyce moves on to the grand final. FaZe then moves on to the losers bracket final, where they play LG. And don't forget, LG got 3-1 by FaZe on day 2. So FaZe and Luminosity play on day 3. FaZe get 3-1 by LG. They get revenge. Either 3-1 or 3-2. I want to say 3-1, but it might have been 5th map. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was 3-1. So then they get 3-1, and that's their grand final. So Luminosity got their revenge on FaZe Clan earlier when that happened, and a lot of people also expected FaZe Clan to clean up in that series too, because they'd already done it against them. They expected them to clean up again. Didn't happen, and I think people were like, "Wow, why didn't it happen? They should never get cleaned up like that." So Luminosity and Splyce was the grand final, and I don't want to reveal what happened. For those of you that haven't seen it, it was awesome. But for those of you that want to hear it and you haven't seen the grand final, you've been warned, this is a spoiler. Okay, so grand final, Splyce versus Luminosity. So they have 2 best of 5s. You have to play 2 best of 5 series. So Splyce is the number 1 EU team. Number 1 European team, I should say. Luminosity is the number 4 North American team. Now, Luminosity is very, very good. I mean, I'd rather them to win over Splyce, obviously, because I'm from North America. And also at the same time, so they go to, also at the same time, Splyce are pretty good too, so it's like a toss-up. Who do you think is better? That's what it comes down to, as we get the 1 burst right there. So, how I want to say is, Splyce, Luminosity, like I've said tons of times. So they go into map 1, and Luminosity 100-point club Splyce. Now that's when it got, like, everyone's like, oh, well, LG can take this now because they just 100-point clubbed them. So, of course, they're going to win. So then they go into SND, and they lose 6-2 against Splice. Zero and Octane. Octane went off in the hardpoint map 1. I think he dropped maybe 40 kills exactly, 40 and 24, something crazy like that. I know he dropped 40. Then in game 2, Zero, the other MVP, he went off on the SND. Now that's when it got crazy because you knew that this was a game of the ARs. Like everyone in the team was there, but it was like their show. Like it was like Octane and Zero were there, and everyone else was just playing for him. It was kind of like that whole scenario. That's basically what the whole game was. It was just that scenario. Like they're on the team, and everyone else is playing for them, and they're like their own animal. Basically, it was kind of like that. So then going into map 3, I think LG won the uplink. I'm not 100%. I could be delusional right now, but I think LG won the uplink. No, my bad. LG lose the uplink. That was completely my fault. I just checked. LG lost the uplink. Then they lose the uplink. I think 4-3 or something crazy. 3-2, 4-3, something like that. And then they win the hardpoint because they're probably the best hardpoint team right now. So they win the hardpoint, so they're tied 2-2. Okay, game 5 they go to now. SND. Luminosity, Splice. Luminosity take round 1. Splice win the next 2 or 3. And then I want to say I think it's 4-1 Splice. Then Luminosity make it 4-2. And then Splice win another one, I think 5-2. Luminosity bring it back 5-4, okay? 5-4. Then the next game, 5-4, round 10. So they bring it back. Splice get 2 kills, plant the bomb. Zero gets 2 more kills. That's your series. Splice are your MLG Stage 1 playoff champions for the first time in 7 years. I was kind of confused because I'm like, Luminosity went all that way. They creamed everybody, and they get stopped in the final. Straight up, they just got stopped in the final. And that's when it kind of hit me like, wow, Splice are better than everyone thinks they are. And they proved everybody that thought they were bad wrong. And then Mad Cat, one of the guys in Splice, goes off like, people don't want to scrim them. And he's like, getting mad because he's like, you don't want to scrim us. He's like, Elevate, you're not good. Red Reserve, you're not good. Millennium, Epsilon, you guys aren't good. We were the only EU team here against 7 North American teams, and we beat them. And that's what he was like, kept saying over and over. So, yeah, I think Splice have really proven themselves. And then when the next Control Freak power rankings or caster rankings come out, I think it's going to be Splice is the #1 team in the world, Luminosity #2 team in the world, #3 FaZe Clan, #4 either United or Optic Gaming. That's how I think it's going to be. I think United and Optic Gaming have lost their top 2 spots. And if they somehow keep those spots, I'm going to be really, really confused because they both got creamed by teams that are lower than them, being FaZe and LG. So that will be really, really weird if the caster rankings say that those teams are 1 and 2. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this episode on my YouTube channel. Till next time, guys, as always.